Sometimes, fate turns against those who choose the wrong path. What starts as a simple robbery can become a nightmare in seconds. In this video, we reveal 6 shocking cases where thieves expected the police, but came face to face with creatures beyond their imagination. From tiny, unexpected guardians to the most feared predators on Earth, we start with the least dangerous, but each story gets darker, and the final one, truly unforgettable. Number 6. We begin this list with a case that feels like pure divine justice. A thief in Zimbabwe thought it would be an easy score, but nature had other plans. As he tried to escape with the loot, a swarm of bees suddenly surrounded him and unleashed their fury. This wasn't his first time. The man had already robbed the same house twice before, but his third attempt ended in disaster. Just as he was making off with a stolen car battery, the bees came out of nowhere and attacked relentlessly. He ran. He screamed, but the pain was unbearable. With no other choice, he staggered back to the house and returned the battery. Social media exploded with reactions, calling it supernatural justice, coincidence, or fate's revenge. One thing's for sure, this thief will never forget the lesson. And if you thought that was intense, number 5 will leave you breathless. Number 5, the thief in the last story learned the hard way that nature doesn't forgive. But what comes next is even more unbelievable. If bees seemed like an unusual form of justice, wait until you meet Chompers, the unexpected heroine of this tale. When a young woman decided to sell her pet, she never imagined that same creature would save her life and send an armed thief running in terror. When we think of guardians, we picture dogs or high-tech alarms. But what happened in Houston, Texas defies all logic. Ariel Giron was preparing to sell her pet python, Chompers. She posted an ad online and arranged to meet a buyer in a parking lot. Everything seemed normal at first. A little girl showed up with a few bills, saying her brother had the rest. Then, the mood changed. The buyer didn't bring cash. He brought a gun. Ariel was trapped, cornered with a weapon aimed at her. It seemed like there was no way out. But just when everything felt lost, Chompers made her move. Calm until then, the python suddenly slid toward the attacker. In seconds, the thief became the hunted. Terrified by the massive reptile lunging his way, he panicked, dropped the gun, and ran without looking back. Ariel was saved by the very pet she had planned to give away. This thief thought he was in control, but he didn't count on a 2-meter-long protector ready to strike. And if that shocked you, number 4 takes terror to a whole new level. Number 4. The thief in the last story made it out alive, but the one in this case wasn't so lucky. Matthew Reagans, 22 years old, had a plan to break into several homes in Barefoot Bay, Florida. But when neighbors spotted them and called the police, Matthew and his accomplice fled in panic, and that's when they made the worst decision of all. They ran into the swamp. They didn't know something was already waiting for them. Police followed their trail and soon heard terrifying screams echoing in the darkness. But after a long and fruitless search, they called off the operation. Hours later, Matthew's family reported him missing. 10 days passed. Then, his body was found floating in the water, marked with brutal wounds. A massive alligator, over 10 feet long, had attacked him. When the reptile was captured, an autopsy confirmed the worst. It had eaten the thief. Matthew thought the swamp would be his hiding place. But in the wild, one mistake can cost you everything. And if you thought that was intense, number 3 is where true horror begins. Number 3. The thief in the previous story thought the swamp would hide him, but he became prey to the ultimate water predator. This next intruder didn't even have time to hide, because the threat was already waiting. Some homeowners rely on guard dogs, others install high-tech cameras, but in this house, the guardian was something far more deadly. A thief tried to break into the property, unaware that a lion was waiting inside. He climbed the wall with ease, using the iron bars for leverage. In seconds, he thought he'd be inside, ready to grab whatever he could. But just as he reached the top, he felt agony. Something had grabbed him, something massive, something that refused to let go. The lion had sensed him before he even landed. In a flash, it sank its claws and fangs deep into the man's leg and dragged him in.
Freak!
What followed was a bloodbath. The thief screamed in horror, but the lion kept biting, ripping through flesh without mercy. Neighbors, alerted by the cries, rushed to the scene. What they found froze them in place. A thief caught in the jaws of a predator, bleeding out rapidly. Desperate, they struck the lion with pipes and tools, trying to force it to release him. But the beast wouldn't budge. Only after a brutal struggle did they manage to free the man, barely alive and rapidly losing blood. He was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. This thief thought the police would be his worst enemy. But he was welcomed by the king of the jungle. He survived, barely. And with scars he'll carry for the rest of his life. Number 2. The man in the last story barely survived a single lion. But this time, fate was far more cruel. Not one, but 2 predators were guarding the property. Most thieves come prepared for anything: locked doors, alarms, even guard dogs. But nothing could have prepared them for what they found in this mansion. 2 men crept into a luxury residence in an exclusive area of Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua. What they didn't know was that this property had 2 lethal protectors. Not cops, not trained dogs, but a tiger and a lioness. They slipped in easily, no alarms, no signs of danger, until it was too late. From the shadows, 2 glowing eyes emerged, then a low growl and a roar that shook the air. The predators attacked together. With terrifying speed, the big cats lunged at the intruders. There was no time to react, no chance to escape. One man was taken down instantly. The lioness clamped her jaws into him, tearing without mercy. The other tried to flee, but the tiger reached him in seconds. The injuries were beyond horrific. When emergency teams arrived, they found a scene from a nightmare. One thief had been completely mutilated. The other lay in agony, his insides exposed from the bites. He barely made it to the hospital, but his life would never be the same. These men thought the challenge was getting inside unnoticed, but this home needed no guns or alarms, only fangs and claws. We've seen thieves attacked by swarms of bees, terrified by a 2-meter python, devoured by an alligator, and torn apart by not one, but 2 wild predators. But none of that compares to what's coming next, because the number 1 case is something straight out of a nightmare. Number 1. In Ghana, Africa, one man believed he could outsmart the security of a zoo and steal a lion cub. What he didn't know was that the cage held more than just cubs. Inside was a father, ready to kill to protect his family. The Accra Zoo, one of the country's most iconic landmarks, is patrolled every night by security guards. But that night, something slipped through the cracks. While guards made their rounds, an intruder managed to sneak into one of the lion enclosures. His goal, to take a cub, alive. He crept closer, thinking the lions were asleep. But the alpha male was already watching. In the blink of an eye, the quiet night turned into a massacre. The massive lion pounced with explosive fury. The man didn't even have time to scream. He was slammed to the ground and torn apart without mercy. Then, the rest of the pride joined in. By the time help arrived, it was too late. In the corner of the cage, they found what was left of the intruder's body. The lions had done what nature taught them to do: eliminate the threat. This man thought he could challenge one of Earth's most lethal predators, and he paid the ultimate price. And that concludes our list of thieves who broke into the wrong place and instantly regretted it. But tell us, which of these cases did you find the most terrifying?